All right, FFA, what's up, everybody? Let's jumpstart this week. Couldn't be more excited for today's call, as you guys are going to get to hear from last month's Agent of the Month. You're also going to get to hear about what charity or foundation she picked for us to donate to as a company. As you guys know, if you're new here, if you win Agent of the Month, if you earn that top spot, you get to pick a charity of your choice that we will give to as a company. Our goal this year is to make a big difference, a much bigger difference with what we've been blessed with as a company to be able to give back to people. So couldn't be more excited to see which foundation the Agent of the Month picks. As you guys all know, it is Becca. She had a phenomenal month last month as she led the way. And guys, jumping into today's call, let's talk about the verse of the day. Okay, check it out. It's John 8, verse 31. Jesus said, "If you hold on to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." What an interesting verse of what Jesus said there, that we would know the truth and the truth would set us free. See, one thing, as I get older, as I watch my kids get older, right, as I watch the world that we live in, it's so apparent that the way the world works, right, it tries to just put you in bondage. It tries to strap you down. All right. Finances, money, the car you drive, what people say about you, social media, all of these things, right, try to just trap you from actually being able to enjoy the freedom that Jesus gave us with the sacrifice he made on the cross. And that verse speaks to me going into this week, because it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. The price he paid is free for us, right? He provided it to us as a gift. So there should be nothing in this world that is strapping you down or weighing you down as you wake up. It's Monday morning, right? Maybe you woke up and you have all kinds of craziness going on this Monday. All of that can go away because you're free in him and the sacrifice that he made. So if you've never dove into the Bible, if you've never looked at that, I'd invite you just to do it, right? I remember being little, going to church, and sometimes you look at that and you think like, this is just a set of rules so people can control you, right? But really, that is nothing to do with the relationship that you can have with Jesus Christ. So if you've never explored that route, maybe you've never believed in it, maybe you've never looked down that path, I would encourage you, it's not what you think. All right. There's a personal relationship you'll actually feel. And it's not about tying you down with a bunch of rules, right? It's about somebody who loves you as the king of this world. And I promise you that peace that you feel is like none other. So if you've never looked down that road this morning, I would encourage you to do that as we jumpstart this Monday. Let's talk about the agents of the week last week. All right. Coming in the top 15 on the week, we had Becky claiming her spot in the top 15. Her and Jess were fighting neck and neck there. Jess Graham, big shout out to her, as she claimed her spot in the top 15. We had Jenna, like always, again, permanent placeholder for Jenna in the top 15. She hits it every single week. We had KZ with a phenomenal week. Shout out to KZ too. She came in number 2 last month, and she had a huge month herself. Big shout out to Jenny Ivy with a big month, or a big week, being in the top 15. We had Joni in the top 15 like usual. Jennifer Garner in the top 15. Stephanie up there in Delaware. Check out Stephanie and Ray. I think they were tied in AP fighting each other last week. But big shout out to those two as they claim their spot on the leaderboard. We had Erin. Big shout out to Erin. Not only did she put herself in the top 15 for personal production, just on the life side, but she also had a $155,000 fact finder annuity get submitted. So great work to you, Erin. We had Jody, all right, last year's rookie of the year, coming in the top 10 on the week. Big shout out to her. We have Dennis and Corey. These two guys are fighting each other back to back every single week. So we had Dennis come in and Corey edged him out last week. Nice work to Corey. Hey, big shout out to Dennis, though, having a huge year so far. And then Corey, again, in his first month, has been getting closer and closer and closer to a 10K week. And last week he broke it, going well over 10K on 11 application. So big shout out to him. And let's give Sam a huge congratulations. As she came in number 2 last week, and she set her personal best record ever in her career, as she just had a huge week. So Sam, super proud of you for running. And I seen that, guys. It came down to a Saturday. I think it was Saturday that Sam closed 1 or 2 more policies and set her personal best record. So sometimes you just got to push. Sam, super proud of you for hitting that. And then let's give Becca a big shout out too. She had another record week. You're going to get to hear from her for being agent of the month last month. It's no surprise, as she was agent of the week last week too. So she's just been on fire here lately. So amazing work to the top 15. Guys, agency as a whole on fire in terms of production. There's so many of you that deserve a shout out that, hey, just because you didn't make it in the top 15 doesn't mean I don't see you. So I promise you, to everybody on the team here at FFA, you guys are making a huge difference and crushing it. And if I had enough time on this call, I would give all of you a shout out. But way to go. Way to put your name up there on the leaderboard. Let's talk about some lead discounts. All right. It's Monday, guys. The top agents are always the agents who have the best lead game plan. So pull out your phones, take a quick screenshot of these discounts going on right now. But you've got a 20% discount on the lead center for the Facebook leads, right? You've got a 30% discount. I know that's really small on the screen, but that, I believe that's for the Ethos Fresh Cart Abandoned leads, which I know you guys are loving. But take a picture of this, guys. You can go on the lead center, get your discount. Make sure you use the discount code. All right. No need in paying more for your leads this week. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on Becca. Becca, you are live with us now. How's your morning going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. It's going good. I actually forgot we had to take Mila to the groomer. So I had to get Dylan like, hey, I got to do this. You got to do that. Good luck. So that's
there you go. Put Dylan to work. Give him the hard job, Becca.
Yes. Normally it's me. And so it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. You got to be dog daddy for the day, right?
I don't want Mila to come back with a mohawk. That's just one thing, just not the mohawk.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pray for Dylan, because when we had our golden doodle, I was petrified to take that thing to the groomer, because I took her there one time and she was so matted up that I told the groomer just to shave her, because that's what the groomer told me she had to do. And when I brought her back home, I think that's the closest I've ever been to getting divorced ever from Elise. She was pretty upset. No, I'm just kidding. But for real though, ever since then, I'm like, I'm not taking this dog to the groomer. You can take her, because I don't want to mess it up. So, and you guys have a doodle too, don't you?
We do.
Yeah, it's hard. That hair is so hard. It gets so knotted, mixed up. But Becca, shout out to you. Agent of the week last week, agent of the month last month. What's the secret? Everybody knows that you got to have some type of secret that you're doing. So what's your secret to success there?
I can't say a secret, and I know that stinks, but I think a lot of what I have been running into lately is just people that have insurance already, because that just makes my job easier. I think it's hard. I really think it's hard to talk somebody into the importance of life insurance, the value of life insurance. I think it's difficult. I've been doing this for a while and I still think it's hard, but I think I've just been running into people that already have it, but something's wrong with it, or whatever I have is a little bit better. So I think that's been a huge part.
That's awesome. You know, I always ran into that too. It seemed like 8 out of 10 people that I would sit with always had insurance already. And did you ever struggle being able to review people's policies, Becca? You know, a lot of new agents might get into a house, the person has insurance, they say they're good, and so they don't ever really get to uncover the opportunities like you are for fixing it up for them. So have you ever struggled with that? And then what's a tip you'd have for an agent to maybe overcome that if they're not reviewing what people have?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that a lot with new agents. I think not being confident in asking for the policy or telling them to go and get it. So like, it's tonality. Sometimes when you sound scared, the client doesn't want you looking through their personal stuff. So sounding more confident, I think, would help, but also telling the client to go and get their paperwork versus asking them. I think is super helpful. And then also taking the initiative and going ahead and calling the company instead of asking, hey, do you mind if we call the company? Are you okay if we call the company? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to call the company. And if I'm still struggling, I will find a way to build doubt and deficit. Like I will give them a reason why we need to call. If I know it's a term, like if I know they're paying $10 for 20,000, I'll say, but I know they've had it for a while. I'll say, just make sure your premium doesn't go up and you're not going to outlive it. Or if they've had it for a while, you might be entitled to additional insurance at no cost or a discount on what you're already paying. Like if I know in my brain what type of policy they have, I find a way to bring doubt and a deficit so I can review it.
That's key. I think a lot of agents, they just take clients' their word for it. Like, hey, I've got 20,000, I'm paying $100 a month. I've had it forever. It's good. And so then they miss that chance because they don't create the doubt. They just look at what they have and like, oh, I can't beat it. But it's like you said, if you don't call that company, you're missing so many opportunities. Very rarely do you call the company and what they say they have is what the client said they have. There's always something wrong with it, So Becca, when you're looking at your last month, do you know roughly how much you invested in leads?
I think it was like $2,000 in leads.
So like that number, right? Some agents, like their heart might stink like, oh my, how did she do that? How could she spend $2,000 on leads? So how do you view leads? And then like, if you look at what you made off of that, right? It's a no brainer to invest the money, but how do you get your mind in like that investment type mentality? I'm gonna put it out there just so I know it's coming back to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know leads are the lifeblood of the business. Like I've got to have people to go and talk to. Like I've done this long enough that I feel useless if I don't have a place to go. If I'm scrambling, like that gives me more anxiety than spending the $500 a week, but having people to go and talk to, because I think I spend like on average 500 a week. I can make that on one policy easy, and everything else on top of that is just green.
Yeah.
And I just have the mindset of paying for my commissions in advance. Like I'll pay it now, but I'll get it back tenfold. It's just a mindset shift.
I love how you put that, paying for your commissions in advance. The money, the 500 you're putting in is going to bring you back, the $5,000 you're going to make that week or vice versa. So that was one big thing for me too, as a new agent. Like, guys, if you're brand new and you don't have the money, right? Like if you're thinking 500 a week is too much to do, what you have to see is you only ever have to spend the 500 one time, because you put 500 in, you make a couple sales, whatever you profit off of that, you take your original 500 out and move it to the next week and just keep moving it. You're essentially spending the same 500 every single week to get the money back into it. So Becca, what's your favorite lead type?
I've really been running the direct mailers. That's what I've been running. And I just like them. I can show them their signature. And I got a pretty good return on those. Like I was looking at it over the weekend, getting all my leads in order. Oh, I helped this one. I helped this one. This one was just stubborn, but I helped probably 90% of them, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Closing 8 or 9 out of 10 leads is phenomenal. So you've been doing this a lot, right? Where you've worked direct mail leads, you've worked the digital type of leads. What's kind of your viewpoint towards both? Like some agents like one or the other. Do you think one's easier to get in the door with, or?
My mentality with the lead is just an excuse to talk to them at the door. Hold on.
This is a reminder.
Alexa, stop. It gets me every time. I'm so sorry. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like when you're viewing direct mail versus digital, do you think one's easier to get in the door with, one's easier to close?
No, because 90% of the time they don't remember doing it anyway, no matter what type of lead you have. And as long as you have a name and an address and they were looking for it at one time or another, I mean, it'll be easy to get into the door, right? Because they
Yeah.
were looking for it. They either filled it out online or wrote on a piece of paper, or they were looking, they were interested, they wanted information at some way, shape, or form. You're
Mhm.
just there to talk to them about it.
Yeah, that's key. I think a lot of times there's like this stereotype over, well, if I spend the most money on the most expensive lead, I should show up and they should just remember filling it out. It should be easy. And that's very rarely the case, right? Like you might have somebody fill out a lead yesterday, you show up today and they're like, I didn't do that. And you're like, you definitely did it. Like just yesterday you did it. So I love that you view it like that.
I wanna add to that. So I still work like old leads, and I will
Mhm.
erase the year on there, and I
Yeah.
will treat it like a brand new lead. They don't know it's old, and I know they're
Mhm.
not gonna remember it anyway, so I just delete the year and treat it like
Yeah.
it's a brand new lead.
100%. I do that all the time too. Like I remember like when I was trying to run 20 appointments in a week, you just couldn't get enough new leads in to hit that kind of a number, right? So I would have to get old leads to fill in. And it was the same thing. So I'll never forget this. This lead, I'm not kidding you, Becca, was 8 years old. This was like 2021 and I was working, it was like a 2013, 2014 direct mailer. And I whited the date out and I went up to the door and I showed them the card and they said, I just filled that out yesterday. How did you get that so fast? And then like, cause people fill out cards every year, so it's like working age leads, you're going to get back in front of the same people that are filling out the brand new leads too. The only difference is sometimes with the age ones, they don't live there anymore. Right. So some of them
Mhm.
are going to be duds, but Becca, what's been, like the hardest thing for you as an agent? Like think about like what is the number one thing you struggle with that you have to overcome to have the numbers like you have each week and each month?
The hardest thing for me is schedule. Like my morning schedule is the hardest thing for me to stay consistent. That's just me personally. And that's
Mhm.
because the way I start my morning is typically how my day goes. So I'm glad Dylan was able to help this morning, because if I had to deal with the dog and the call and
Mhm.
still do all my Monday morning things, it would have thrown me off for the day. So I'm glad he was able to help with that. But the way I start my morning is still a struggle for me. Like I want to be organized in the morning, but sometimes it just doesn't
Mhm.
happen. So that's something that I still struggle with even to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of agents struggle with that too. Like I know some agents struggle with not knowing where they're working for the day. Some struggle with being able to just get out of that door on time. They're too busy doing chores or whatever. So that's a big one. But I love that you said how you start your days, how you finish it, because it's almost always true. But Becca, question for you. So you had a huge month individually, but you also hit another team record in production again. So how are you managing both, right? How are you writing at a high level, but also helping your team and your agents write at a high level and recruit at the same time?
Honestly, shout out to my team. I'm so proud of you guys. That was super exciting to come and see that we had another record month. So that was super fun to see. But
Back
I
to back
just
record months.
do what?
You guys had back to back record months, right? You beat it in March and you beat it in April.
I know, I'm super. That's awesome. Like, who knows
Mhm.
that? And so, kind of, what I show them what's possible. Like, I'm out there with them. I'm not expecting them to go out there and do it without me, because there's sometimes like I'm in a house too. Can you text me?
Mhm.
Or they'll send me their little health sheet, and I'm multitasking. Like, I'll be in a house on the policy review with my client, looking at theirs. So multitasking, and also posting on social media. That's how a lot of my team has found me.
Mhm.
Is they've come to me because they like what we have to offer here. So just makes my job easier.
For sure. That's a skill set that I think a lot of agents might fear of being able to multitask, being in the house, selling your client, helping your client, but then also helping your team at the same time. It's a lot to juggle, but it's so worth it in the end when you can see the difference you can make for the agents that are coming on with you. So, Becca, question for you, right? You won Agent of the Month, so you get to pick what charity we're given to as a company. Have you thought about which one you want to give and tell us kind of why you picked it?
Absolutely. So I had to do some research a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but I
Mhm.
chose Foster America. And I did it because I used to be a teacher, right? And so I would see kids from all of these different backgrounds, and I just have a heart. Like my heart just loves people that come from less privileged, I guess, like not
Hmm.
a full house, I guess you could say. Um,
Yeah.
because I know that if we can change the kids and help the kids have a better life, I know it'll help the future generations and just the world, right? And so
Hmm.
that's why I wanted to go and help these little kids because I know that they're just the future, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that pick. I'm excited to be able for us as a company to give to that foundation. I looked it up when you sent it to me yesterday and dove into all the different things they do. And it really is amazing. The childcare system in our country right now is just, it's getting better, but it still seems like it's a mess. You know, there's so many kids that actually need help. And I think there's so many kids that really don't get the support that they need because of the way the system's set up. You know, they bounce from one house to the next. It's just, it's almost like we're not viewing them as actually kids, you know, like it's like property almost, like moving around. And that's such a shame. So I love that. I love the foundation. One of their goals is to like eliminate that, right? To have proper placement for kids in certain situations. So I think it makes a huge difference.
I remember I used to be like a site facilitator at this
Mhm.
after school program, and there was this set of three kids. She was 7, it was a first grader. And she told me that she had already had 7 mommies by the time she
Wow.
was in first grade.
Mhm.
And that kind of broke my heart, but that's been probably 10 years ago now. And they still, like, I still remember them. And they did end up getting adopted by mommy number 7, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. But and that's just one kid, right, Becca? Like that happens to thousands and thousands of kids just never having that home type foundation. And it's sad to think about. It's definitely something in the world we live in with the resources we have today. You think it would be a lot simpler for somebody who wants to adopt a kid to be able to do that. And it's like it's a very complicated process for sure. So no, I love that pick. I think it makes a huge difference there. And so my last question for you, Becca, is what is the goal for you and for the A team this year? Like, I know you started off with the goal, but you guys are hitting these numbers already. So, where do you want to see your team finish up at the end of 2025?
I think we can do my goal, just where we're at. I think maybe between $500 to $600 net by the end of
Mhm.
2025. I think that'd be cool if we were able to do that.
Heck yeah, you guys are on track to hit it. I'm gonna push you. I want to see you guys hit 1 million.
We'll see. Let's go.
1 million for the A team is coming up. But Becca, I appreciate you for jumping on here. Super proud of you for hitting these numbers and just making a wave, finding a way to make it happen each week and each month. So great work to you, Becca. Thanks for hopping on here. Guys, that's all we got for you today. Let's go have a big week. We'll be back here on Wednesday. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.